Public pressure is mounting for Contra Costa County's District Attorney Mark Peterson to resign. Last month, he confessed to 5 years of embezzling election funds for personal use. He agreed to pay $45,000 in fines. But community activists say fraud and abuse of power extends far beyond the misappropriation of election funds. They gathered in the rain today to protest and demand his resignation. KPFA's Corinne Smith reports.
Your Honor, what is your verdict on count number 1, the embezzlement and perjury charges?
Guilty! Get him out!
Dozens of protesters rallied in the rain outside the district attorney's office holding a mock trial, charging DA Mark Peterson with 7 counts, ranging from failing to investigate and prosecute police misconduct, including sex trafficking, to corruption in the school district. Civil rights attorney Pamela Price is with the Coalition to Restore Public Trust.
This district attorney does not reflect the values of Contra Costa County, and what we have is a systemic failure of justice in Contra Costa County.
Last month, Peterson was slapped with a $45,000 fine by the California Fair Political Practices Commission when a surprise audit revealed he had spent over $66,000 in campaign funds on personal expenses since 2011. The embezzlement and fraud has flared the community's anger with Peterson, igniting calls for his resignation and for the new state attorney general to charge him with corruption. Ali Saidi with the Contra Costa Defenders Association criticized Peterson for over-prosecuting welfare fraud while Peterson was guilty of a similar crime.
According to census data from 2013, only 10% of our county's population are African American, whereas almost 50% of the welfare fraud prosecutions were against African American women. Wow. And I will also note that although District Attorney Peterson wants to apologize and pay the money back and call it a day, the convictions under the welfare fraud statutes that he prosecuted all resulted in jail time for those people convicted.
Justice advocates are furious Peterson failed to investigate and prosecute the Richmond police following the Bay Area sex scandal involving sex trafficking of a minor. Price represented the central figure and victim of the scandal, known as Celeste Guap, and accuses the Richmond police of kidnapping her and sending her to Florida to cover up the scandal.
They shipped this young woman, 19 years old, across country to Florida by herself, told her she was going for a vacation, and when she tried to leave, the workers there grabbed her, assaulted her, had called the police, put her in a triangle, what they call that hog tie thing, and took her to jail, charged her with a felony. And this young woman was facing 15 years in jail. And that's the sort of thing that Mark Peterson says, well, I don't see any problem with that occurring.
The family of Petey Perez, an unarmed 24-year-old shot and killed by a Richmond police officer in 2014, were among the speakers, protesting the district attorney's decision not to bring charges against the shooting officer, citing self-defense. But his family says eyewitness accounts dispute the claim, and Peterson is allowing impunity. Protesters also charge Peterson with failure to investigate public corruption and retaliation in the city manager's office, abuse of residents in Richmond's public housing, and alleged corruption in the West Contra Costa County School District. Ben Steinberg is an education advocate and criticized Peterson's failure to prosecute after a $1 million audit of the school district revealed corruption in its construction contracting.
He couldn't even lift a finger to investigate this fraud and mismanagement that was perpetrated on our very financially distressed community. That's money that's taken away from kids. It's money that's taken away from our schools. For that reason alone, I think Mark Peterson must resign.
Lastly, they charged Peterson with violating the public trust after rehiring Deputy District Attorney Michael Grissett, a prosecutor who was fired and indicted for sexual assault of a female district attorney. The charges were dropped on a technicality, advocates say, and Peterson rehired him. Grissett now oversees sex crime prosecutions. Civil rights activist Kathleen Sullivan.
Mark Peterson thought that it was still okay for him to bring this man back and for him to oversee cases in this county. So for me, that makes it such that Mark Peterson is unqualified and needs to go.
The district attorney's office told KPFA they had no comment about the protest at this time. The California Fair Political Practices Commission will hold a hearing tomorrow, January 18th, on Peterson's pending fine and punishment for embezzling election funds. Protesters are asking the public to submit feedback to the commission via their website at fpp.ca.gov. In Martinez for KPFA Pacifica Radio, I'm Corinne Smith.